thank you for joining us. Welcome to the program. We're coming to you from the Kampala Serena Conference Center Nile Room, and tonight we continue our conversation on family planning. I'm joined in the studio by a couple who agreed to share their journey using family planning with us, what it's been like, what they started with, and what they're using now, and how it's working for them. I'll begin with the gentleman, Godfrey Nsubuga, who is a businessman. Godfrey, welcome.
Thank you.
All right. And the lady, Joanne Kasemire, who is a businesswoman.
Thank you.
All right. It's good to have both of you. Let's say it as it is. You've been married how long?
For 8 years.
8 years?
8 years, yeah.
Okay. Do you have any children?
Yeah, we have one. He's 6 years.
A 6-year-old boy, you said
Yeah.
he. Okay. When did you start using family planning? Are you using family planning now?
Yeah, I'm using family planning, but I started after giving birth to my firstborn. Yeah, I started when he was 1 month. Then I went for an injector plan. For an injector plan, you go for 3 months. After the 3 months, then you go beyond if it works well. On my side, I failed with it. Was my first 3 months. I went in my menstruation periods for 3 months.
Wow.
And okay, I became very tired about it. But when I went back to the doctor, he told me that I should try again. Because I was using a private clinic. They told me that for a baby is still young, I should try again. When I tried for the next 3 months, it also did the same. They told me that they should change. I should use the tabs. When I tried the tabs...
That is the everyday pill?
Yes.
Yeah, the pills.
Okay.
When I started the pills, they told me that they should stop bleeding. Even the bleeding had not stopped. I was so confused. Then I decided to talk to my husband.
Godfrey, they came and talked to you. What did they tell you?
She told me that she's tired of that. So we have to get another option. So we tried to ask our neighbor about that, the elder.
Okay.
We tried on that.
What did the neighbor tell you?
The neighbor, she told us, but you have to go and ask the specialist.
Okay.
We went to the clinic. The doctor, she told us about all family planning. So after that, the doctor told us, but this one works like this one works like this, but this one is more better than this one.
Which
so
one was that one?
UID.
IUD?
Yeah.
Okay.
IUD, we tried on that. So far, we are still using UID.
Okay.
Because it's more better than others.
The other method.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you, Joanne. Before you had your first child, you were not using any family planning.
I wasn't using anything.
Why not?
We were told when we are still in school, they had told us, if you use family planning, you won't give babies, you lose your infertility.
You lose your fertility?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said that, I won't. Let us use CDs, condoms, until I give birth.
Until you were ready to have a child?
Yeah.
Did you speak to maybe your doctor to find out if they lied to you, or if it was the...
They were not liars.
So you believe that if you use family planning methods before?
Yeah, for sure. I have a friend of mine. She used to take tabs. As per now, she can't give birth because they have given a checkup about herself. They told her that she won't give birth.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I told her, that you had already tried, because they had told me that she tried it when she was 15. I said, for me, I can't.
Okay. Do you have any issues with maybe your culture, your religion? Is there anything that made you first fear using family planning? Godfrey?
Yes, no.
You've always been for it?
Of course.
Joanne?
For us, it's not culture.
It's not culture, or it's an open book. You're comfortable, free to use it?
I'm free to use it.
Okay. Okay. You know that the IUD it's long lasting, so you'll keep it in for as long as...
Yeah, it is for 10 years.
For 10 years? That's what
Yeah.
they told you?
Yeah, for 10 years. Then the implant, it is for 5, on anyway you choose, yeah? It is 5-3. But for me, I decided for the 10-year, the IUD, because they had told me the injector plan, it is the same as the implant. Now they had told me that I would not be comfortable with it. I decided to use the IUD.
Do you ever feel that maybe it's not settled in properly? You need to go for a checkup?
Yeah, if it is not settled, because they are the strips, small strips, because when I do my shower, I usually check up.
Oh, so you do your checkup yourself?
Yeah, if I don't feel them, I can go to the doctor. But for the 3 years, I'm feeling them.
Okay. You've not had, I know a lot of women have problems, not problems, but they for the first couple of weeks, they tell us that they've had issues using the IUD. Have you had any challenges?
No, the problem with it, unless if the doctor inserts poorly, can feel pain. But if you are inserted when it's not poor, it's better.
Okay. Yeah. Godfrey?
Yes.
Do you, a lot of men fear that when a woman is using an IUD, they can feel it?
Nothing's much on that. So, for me, I never had anything.
Okay.
But what I was told,
You can't go on that unless that you will have to spend like 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, you can enjoy.
Okay. So 3 weeks after you've inserted it, you keep away?
Of course.
Is that what happened?
yeah,
That's fine.
Okay.
but you can only feel a pain for just the immediate time. If you take brufen, you're better.
Okay. You were saying you were told something?
Okay, they had told that if you insert the IUD, you should not be playing sex with other men because they are different. Now you decide to use one partner.
Mostly because of infections?
Because you may infections and these the uterus infections. They are told us that you should not use that.
Okay.
I'm safe.
Is that why you like it so much? But you know that Godfrey could also be carrying the... I'm joking. Godfrey, what did you think about her journey using other family planning methods when she was using the others?
The others was so more complicated. Because for me, I'm a businessman. I have to go and look for the money. I have to care my family. So when we are using the other family planning, I usually be there giving them special treatment. So we decided to go and have another one.
You couldn't afford to stay home and take care of children?
I couldn't.
Okay. What is the plan now? Do you plan to have other children, or you look very young?
I'm planning for after the 10 years.
After 10 years?
10
Yeah,
years.
when my boy he has finished P7, primary 7. When he finishes primary 7, I'll be getting another.
Will you still be able?
I'll be able.
Are you in agreement, Godfrey? You want the next child after 10 years?
Kwe kusala kwa mchala wange.
Okay.
Byakukiriziganya. Because we need to be in a stable life. We need to achieve. We need to be like others.
Okay.
Hey.
Why did you decide to use family planning in the first place?
Okay, they had told me since I saw my menstruation when the baby was 1 month. They had told me that you'll be giving on birth every month. You'll be getting pregnant. Yet I don't want to give birth.
Who had told you that every month you'll be giving? Who is this
that
who
I'm
has putting
fertile?
things in your head? Who said? Who told you?
People, they usually tell us that if you don't use family planning, yet you've seen, okay, there is other women, they do say that when I'm breastfeeding, I can't get pregnant. For me, I'm not sure about that. Others say that if my child goes to school, I'll be getting pregnant. That is natural family planning. For me, I don't consider that. That's why I decided to use this one of the doctors.
Okay. And Godfrey, what were your thoughts on family planning when Joanne said, you know, we need, who brought up the conversation on family planning?
Joanne.
So what did she say? Oh, baby mama, what did she come and say?
She told me that about the family planning, because we need to be like others. That is my nature.
You want to be like others?
Yes. Some of them. Bankolera. Balina muwogo. Bano tukiita kunoonya muwogo. Tulina okunoonya ssente. So, otuba nga tulina abaana like 2 kids. At this age, it's difficult to maintain them. So, Joanne went there and asked the good idea. She comes around and told me about that. Hey, you
didn't go and consult? You just took her word for it?
Of course.
Okay.
But it's better. It's better. When I usually tell others, you try on that.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's take a short break and we'll be right back.
We offer professional barber, hairdressing at Lugogo Mall, Garden City, Forest Mall, Oasis Mall, and Acacia Mall. Sparkle Salon, professional, affordable, and quality services.
Welcome back. We are coming to you from the Serena Conference Center, Nile Room, and tonight we are talking about family planning methods. Now, earlier in the week, we went out and sought our viewers' opinions on family planning, what works for them, if it's actually a thing that they would like to take up, and all of that. Let's play a clip from what they shared with us.
My name is Elizabeth Mirembe Roth. That is a given name by my husband. That one I have to carry it everywhere. I'm married. I have a daughter. I have 3.5-year daughter, and we are happy with our daughter, but we try to get another kid. But in between, before I tried to conceive again, my husband advised me to use family planning, because me, I didn't know anything. So innocent I was. Then my husband advised me and he told me to go to a health center. So I went through a lot of tests, blood tests, and their final conclusion was to use an implant. So they inserted something in under my skin, implant on, and they told me it will go for 3 years. But within that time, I went into my periods in the first month. But following, I didn't, until the day I decided to go off family planning. But after that, I had to go a lot of bleeding, heavy bleeding that had never happened in my life. And after that, I tried to conceive, but unfortunately, I miscarried. And when I tried to inquire or ask, they told me it was because I wasn't bleeding when I was having my family planning. So, I decided not to go back to family planning. I pray to God to hold things back. I'm not using anything for now. Yeah, I'm trying to do that, but not necessarily that. I just got discouraged. I got discouraged. I lost morale for the family planning because I loved so much the other baby. So I decided to stay free, so I just follow my free days.
According to me and according to my age, because I'm 20, I would prefer me and my girlfriend, because I have a girlfriend. I'm not alone. You know, the other time they used to tell us that you're young, but when you reach 20, you have to be with a girlfriend. But for me, on the family planning methods, I see that me and my girlfriend, we can use condoms. Because condoms are safe, not releasing like much blood like using those rings, or like using the tablets. We can bring like defections, the areas. Actually, for me on my side, I prefer using condoms.
I was married for some years, so I was using family planning. So when I was using family planning, my husband used to complain, as in love, eh? I lost my feelings. Sometimes I lost my feelings. I was feeling some pains. So I decided to leave that, to leave the family planning. We used another method. That method was withdraw. We was using withdraw. By the way, he was very calm. He was very calm when I was in my days. My days, the fertile days. He used to leave me.
I'm called Namalia Violet Rita Chirabo. I stay in Namgonga. I'm a mother of one child. But my experience with family planning, it's even up to now I'm using it. But before I had my child, I was not using anything because I was young. So I had my firstborn. But after I stayed with my boyfriend, so for him, he knew what to do. Me, I didn't know anything. So he decided to take me to a clinic, maybe to acquire some knowledge how to handle this issue of staying with me without having another child, because he never wanted it at all. So as we went to the doctor briefed us, then he advised him that I should use the injector plan. So when I used the injector plan, it goes for 3 months. So after the 3 months, I got some problems with it. I got a spotting, like every other day time. It took a week, it took a month when I'm spotting. I lost my feelings as a woman, and I started eating a lot, which later I became fat. So he realized it. I also explained it to him. We went back to the doctor. Then as we went back to the doctor, so the doctor was advising us to change from that one, because even me, I wasn't comfortable with it. So then it was me to take action of what I will use next. So I decided to use the pill plants. And ever since I started using the pill plants, I've never experienced anything. I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling well. I have no problem. They're actually making my skin to look very nice, more than even it was before. So I'll advise every mother not to just use anything you want, but you need doctor's advice to go over your family planning method that you wish to use.
Okay, if it's like on the condom side of it, I think to me it would be advantageous because one, first of all, it stops early pregnancies among mothers. And then two, of course, it's also one way of reducing as in unwanted diseases. For example, when you look at the current population of our country, you find that most people are at a high risk of getting HIV/AIDS. Then, of course, three, when you look at it, of course, in terms of child spacing, I really think it's high time that we produce people whom we can be in a position to control, given the growing population that is growing globally, and of course, as in when you look at maybe the resources that are available are not enough as in to look after the growing population.
I'm a married woman. I have 2 kids. Actually, I had some stories about family planning, but myself, I didn't know about it. So what I did, I breastfeeded my kids. Actually, I breastfeeded my firstborn up to 2 years. Then after, I got pregnant again. Then I breastfeeded my secondborn. Then after 3 years, I was like, no, I have to get pregnant again.
Still, you're not on any...
I'm not on family planning, but what I do, I breastfeed because...
The natural family planning.
Yeah, it is a natural family planning because I have a doctor of mine who was like, you know what, breastfeeding can also help you. But you can find someone, that person cannot breastfeed. Actually, what I advise, my advice to all mothers is to get family plannings because we can't support kids year to year. Yeah, that's all. If a natural family planning can work for you, go for it. If artificial can work for you, still get advice from some doctors and use it.
After having my firstborn in 2011, I decided, because I didn't want to have a child in between, I decided to use the safest and the long-term family planning. So when I went to see my gyne, they advised me on several family planning methods, and then I decided to use the one of 5 years, because in 5 years' time I wasn't planning to have any child at all. So I went for that. I used an implant for 5 years, and indeed it worked for me. After 5 years, I put it out, and immediately I decided to put it out. I think just 1 year, I got a pregnancy and I got my second baby. So my firstborn is 7 years and my secondborn is currently 1 year old. My advice could be, it is a two-way thing, because these family planning methods are, they affect us differently depending on someone's hormones. The only thing I would tell them is that they should seek advice from their gynecologists or doctors, whoever they feel comfortable with. They advise them about their body types and everything, and then they tell them which family planning method is more better, like compared to their growth or their hormones, and then they decide on one.
Well, let's take another short break, and when we return, Joan and Godfrey will be wrapping it up for us, what their experience with the IUD has been and what they would like to tell somebody who's watching and listening to their story. Welcome back. We are coming to you from the Serena Conference Center, Nile Room, and we're talking about family planning. John and Godfrey came all the way from Matuga.
Matuga.
Matuga. I told you where I had Matuga from. They came all the way to share their journey with us on family planning. What do you think about family planning in general?
Family planning in general, okay, there is child spacing, planning for your future, and anyway, it's all about planning for a future, because you can't give birth every month or every 4 months, yeah, because every 4 months a woman can't get pregnant. Because if you child space, you can plan like other women. We usually travel for some work, for other businesses. You can't travel when you're pregnant. You can't travel when you're having a baby, because you can't move a baby from here in like midnight. You can't move with a baby.
There's somebody who will say, but your idea of spacing of 10 years is too big.
It's too big, eh? No, with the IUD, it's like this. If you're using it, you can say like having 3 years. You say that, doctor, I'm tired. I want to give a birth to a baby. They can remove it. If you say that I'm tired for 5, you can.
So you might change your mind and remove it earlier than 10 years.
It can.
That was our opinion.
Both of you together?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think about family planning?
Family planning, for me it works good, because I can give time when I'm thinking about my family, when I'm planning for them. So I decide to use that. Kuba, in this country, like where we are, it's not stable. I can say it's not stable.
What do you mean? You know that if you go in government hospitals or private, we usually buy children.
You've bought a child before? You've bought?
We buy children.
You've bought?
Because if you go in a government hospital, you give birth, saying for free. You have to pay the one who has given care to the doctor.
You've paid for a child, Joan?
You give.
But you're not telling me yes.
Soda. you pay soda for someone.
That's very sad if you can buy children.
We usually buy children.
But what would you tell somebody who's watching this show now and watching you guys talk about, you've been together for 8 years?
Yeah.
What would you tell them about family planning?
For me, I can tell them that UID, it's better to use.
IUD.
It's better to use, I'm sorry. It can be like, when you have your own goal, you can achieve when you are using that. That family planning, if you are on that family planning, you can space each and everything. You space in kids, you can space, what can I say? You can space when you are looking or while you are traveling. Kitegera. Ng'ogezaako okunoonya ssente, so okubeera contented while when you are having like one kid. Obeera n'abaana muganda wange. Kiba kizibu. Obwereero olowooza ono alidde ki oli alidde ki. Naye bw'oba ng'ogenza okunoonya ssente. It's better.
What would you tell another man, there are some men who are not comfortable with their wives using family planning. There are some women actually who just don't want to. What would you tell them?
Some of them, they are fearing that when you are on that family planning or you are using any family planning, you become like the baby, like my baby mama. Alinga bwali, nga we namulaba.
She still looks like her.
Yeah. So, some of them, they have their saying. Wabanga ali ku family planning, asooka okufuuka omutono, zikoza, zikuleetera okugejja ekitali kituufu. Wabula ekintu ekikiriko, nti osobola okwachivinga kikyo weetaaga. Yes.
Okay. And Joan, what would you like to tell people?
With the IUD, I advise other mothers to use it, because if you feel like waking up, you want to get pregnant tomorrow, you remove it. The day you remove it, you're ready to conceive with the baby.
Okay.
That's the better it is. It is a bit different from the injector plan because it can take long to conceive a baby.
Because of the hormones?
Yeah, the hormones. This one, it's normal. If you remove it, the day you remove it, and for the second thing, you have to go for the checkup if you decided with it. They have to look about it and the cancer of the uterus. You have to check for the 1 year. Every 1 year, they have to check you. Or if you're not better, they have to remove it. But if you're better, no worry.
You continue with your journey.
He's very happy with this journey. And he says you look like how he met you. So.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. You haven't lost weight, gained weight? No?
I'm feeling comfortably.
Okay.
And I'm advising Josephine to join me, and we should make the same route.
All right, thank you both. Thank you very much for coming and sharing your story. I'd like to leave our viewers today with some expert opinion on family planning, and especially in regard to the IUD, because it's what you're using and what you've been
using the IUD.
Yes, talking to us about. So I'd like us to hear from the experts, and we'll close the show. Thank you for watching.
My name is Dr. Millie Kagwa. I work at Population Services International Uganda as the Programs Director and also as their Quality Assurance Lead for PSI. I've been with PSI for over 10 years now, working mainly in reproductive health. That's really my passion. I like working in the family planning space and all things sexual reproductive health for women. Uganda happens to have one of the fastest growing populations in the world. We're in the top 5. By 2016, according to our UDHS, Uganda Demographic Health Survey, we were 41%, 41 million, 41.5 million. And of those, 48% were less than 15 years of age. So we have a young population and we're growing. And that means that our population is highly dependent. We have people we need to take care of. We need to give them food, we need to educate them, and they're not yet able to contribute to the economic growth of our country. That is in itself a challenge, but it's also an opportunity, because we see an opportunity that this is the same population which in a couple of years will be a population of people who can work and can contribute to our economic growth. What we need as a country is to monitor that and make sure that the people that, the women that are having children that they can manage. If we do not control that, and we are having women are having children one after another who they cannot necessarily educate, who they cannot provide the basic needs for, then we'll not be able to take opportunity of that growth of that young population, because we still have so many young people growing. So that's where family planning comes in. Family planning comes in to provide us with quality of health, better quality of health for our women, a mother who is having children after another will face issues, health issues. And then a mother who has, again, too many children will not be able to provide for them. So that's where family planning is coming from. And that's where our organization is contributing. Our contribution is twofold, really. We are working not only with the women to educate them, because some women don't even know that these are options that are available to them. The unmet need is really high. Unmet means you love to space your children, or you like to stop having children, but you don't know how. It's still pretty high in our country. People who would like to reduce the number of kids they're having. People who like to put some time span, you know. I don't want to have them every year, I want to have them every 3 years. They're there, but they don't know what options are available for them. So that's where Population Services International comes in. We are providing education for those women so that they know what options are available to them. Okay. And then also we're working with the provider at the service delivery point. Most providers, some of them don't know about the new technologies that have taken place since the time they were educated. If you graduated in 2001, this is 2018, things have changed. Sure. So we are working with those providers to make sure that they know what is the new contraceptive available, who is supposed to use it, how is it supposed to be used, and what is available for them so that they can provide better services for their clients. So I think family planning is mainly a personal issue. It's a choice issue. The person needs to make their own decision. As a doctor, I cannot tell you that all women should use family planning. No, it's individual choice. Every person knows what their goals are for their own families and for their sexual reproductive health. And sometimes we find we need to educate women to know that they can make these choices. They need to make these choices, and they shouldn't just blindly, go ahead. They should be able to plan. If you are a girl who is aged 18, let me give that example. You don't even have a boyfriend. You should start then to plan for your family. How many kids do you want to have? If you don't, then you'll have an unplanned pregnancy, and moreover, a teenage pregnancy. We already have so many teenagers, over 25%, already have had their first child by the time they are aged 15. That's because they are not thinking, and they are waiting, and then eventually they end up having an unwanted pregnancy. So it is supposed to be a plan for, at least for every woman. Let us plan what we want to see in our future. It doesn't have to be for right now, there and then. There are many questions I believe a woman, a man will go through when they're deciding if they want to have family planning, but they need to know where they can go. I think that's really important. Who should they reach out to in case they need information? So even when you walk in, it doesn't mean that you are not going to get an examination. You should get, when you discuss with the provider should assess you to see are you eligible. And that provider should assess you after discussing with you what are your family planning goals and giving you information about what methods are available to you after discussing with you. For instance, some women come in when they want to space for just a short while. Their choices are not going to be the same as the person who says, I've had my 4 kids. I don't know if I'll have another one later, but I need to space for at least 10 years. The methods that they will use will be different. The health provider will be able to assess of these methods that are available for long term or for short term, which one is the best for you. And with the test that they'll do, even if you're a working client, they should be able to say you can proceed. And this is something that almost women should know, that any medication you take will definitely have some kind of side effect. But a side effect can be managed, and in most cases they are not very severe. They'll not cause you so much harm. Of course, there are sometimes rare incidences where someone will not react very well to a medication and they need to be stopped, but most cases side effects are short-term reactions of your body to the family planning methods that stop in time and can be managed. One of the most common ones is, for instance, bleeding, spotting. Some of the methods create most spotting, others do not. And each woman will react differently. So the provider might not know who is going to spot and who is not going to spot. This is why counseling for family planning is very important. Providers need to know what the side effects are. They need to take the woman through. This is what we anticipate you will get through. This is what happens if you take this method. Some of the methods that we take, for instance, the injectable, can delay return to fertility. The key word being delay, meaning that your fertility will come back, but it may not come back immediately. What will happen is, if you really want to have your child immediately after, the provider will tell you, this one is going to delay the return of fertility to around 4 months, because that's really what it is. It's usually 4 months to 6 months, and then you return to fertility. If you are just limiting for a short while, the provider will give you another option. They'll tell you, this one, your body will take a bit of time to get rid of the hormones that are in your body, so it's going to take some time. But if you take another one, for instance, if you use the coil, which is the IUD, that one you have immediate return to fertility as soon as you remove it. So in most cases, all that can be avoided if the counseling is done well. The first thing that we need to know about family planning methods is, if you are having an underlying condition already, it's not going to stop. So some women will come when they already have fertility issues, because they have not checked, or they don't know the fertility issues have not yet come into place. So they will take a method, family planning method, but they already have an underlying issue. So even when you remove the family planning method, they already had issues. We have at least 2% of our population that have that problem. Their fertility is not as high as the rest. So you have that, the provider will now have to work to say, is it because of the method that you're using that you've delayed to return to fertility, or did you already have a problem? And that's where the tests now come in. They will check out to see, are your ovaries functional? How is your uterus? And how is your blood? How are your hormones? So there is a little bit more work for that one who wants to return to fertility. And the provider needs to find out what is the cause of the delay. Miscarriages are not a side effect of any of the family planning methods I know. But any woman can miscarry. True. That one can happen to anyone, whether you're on family planning or whether you're not on family planning, for a variety of reasons. If you get malaria when you're pregnant, you could have a miscarriage. If you get a urinary tract infection, even if you had family planning method before, you can miscarry. Remember, the family planning method is really just preventing pregnancy. So its works, when you remove it and you get pregnant, its work has ended. It does not remain in the body doing anything, for instance, especially if you're already pregnant. If it was in your body working, you would not be pregnant. So once you are pregnant, we can forget about the family planning method. And then now it is the usual other things that can create a miscarriage that need to be thought about. Many young women have not thought about their reproductive health. They've not thought about their goals. When do you want to have a child? Are you ready to have a child? How do you prevent pregnancy if you don't want to get pregnant as yet? So we have, you see, that's where the need is. We need to educate those women, because if they are not using any family planning method, then they end up in an emergency. They've had unprotected sex, and then now they're worried about having a pregnancy. And we do have a method, which is that one you've talked about, the emergency contraceptive pill, which can actually help if it is taken in the right way and at the right time. So it is a method that has been approved by the Ministry of Health as one of the family planning options. But for any lady that I would see as a doctor who has used the emergency contraceptive, I would ask them to think strongly about using another family planning method, for instance, the short-term methods or the long-term methods, so that they do not end up using the emergency contraceptive all the time. Because most times, the doses, if you use it at the wrong time, if you don't use it in the right dose, you may not get the results that you're looking for. BTL is bilateral tubal ligation. It's a permanent method of family planning for women, where the tubes are tied off to prevent the egg or the ovaries, the egg that is released by the ovaries from getting to the uterus. So yes, it is. But that one is a permanent method. Once you have it, it is harder, not impossible, but really hard to reverse. So a woman really needs to be sure that they don't want to have any more children for them to take this method. The women have to be counseled. I cannot say that this is a method for a woman who is this age or who has had this number of children, because really family planning is a choice. It depends on the reproductive health goals of that woman. That woman knows best if she's done. And she could be done with 3 children, she could be done with 10. She could be done at a different age. Of course, we do not encourage the very young women, because we've seen this happening. They'll come back and they'll want to have more children, and then they'll have had a permanent method. Most providers will be very reluctant to give it to you. They'll counsel you and make sure, are you really ready and sure that you don't want to have any more children? Because that one is a permanent method. So for the young woman out there, my advice is, take the initiative. This is your body. Go and find out. think about it. When do you want to have your children? How many do you want to have? And look for a health provider. There are so many pro-fam clinics that we have at least trained that will be able to talk you through your sexual reproductive, what you need to know, what services are available for you, and what products are for you.
Renew your monthly basic bouquet subscription of 18,000 shillings before it expires. Then enjoy 3 free days only on StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.